The New York Giants have a young superstar who's set to take this team to the next level. Let's talk about it. My name is Paul, and this is Big Apple Sports. Tune in daily for news, insights, analysis, anything you could ever want New York Giants football. This is the channel for you, so don't miss out. Please just take a quick second, hit the subscribe button. Does me a huge solid, and this is going to be an awesome Giant season. I'm going to be putting out a lot of content you don't want to miss out. So let's talk about kind of an unsung hero on the Giants this year. We're all very well aware of Malik Neighbors on offense, hoping Jackson Dart's going to be a great future QB. And then on the defensive side of the ball, we're all very well aware of this ridiculous pass rush. But one piece of the New York Giants that I think people are sleeping on is their secondary. Now, we all know Paulson Adebo, he's going to be solid as the number one corner. We're hoping Deonte Banks does a little better this year. Haven't been wonderful reports out of camp, but he is young and he was a first-round pick. You know the talent's there. But one guy who I think is going to make a huge impact this year is Andru Phillips. So let's take a quick look. Yahoo here's got an article highlighting Kevin Patra of NFL Media came out with a list of people who he thinks will be first-time Pro Bowlers, and he has G-Man corner Andru Phillips playing the nickel as a guy he thinks is going to make a big jump this year. If you look at Andru Phillips at the Combine, he had a pretty impressive 40-yard dash, 4.48. Obviously, some of these corners are more in like the 4.3 to 4.4 flat mark. But for, the nickel, a lot of times these guys are more of like an extra linebacker and are expected to be big time in the run game. So you're generally going to give up a little bit of the speed there for size and strength. But his athleticism really jumps off the charts. Like the vertical leap, the broad jump, these are all super impressive. He ranked as the 9th best corner at the Combine. This would have been last year because he's going into his second year here. And he's just got all the tools to make a big-time jump. And I think this will be massive for the Giants. And of course, like the Giants defense is always going to start with their defensive line. NFL.com recently ranked the top secondaries and the top defensive fronts, and they had your G-Men number 1 right where they should be. All reports out of camp is that Brian Burns absolutely demolished the Jets in joint practices this week. We're all very aware with Dexter Lawrence's game. Best D tackle in the NFL. Just wrecks your game plan. The QB is going to have him in his face every single play. And, for a lot of teams with a good D tackle, the QB can just scramble to the outside. But if you're going against the Giants, you got Brian Burns coming on one side, you got Thibodeau or Abdul Carter coming on the other side, and there's going to be nowhere for you to run away. But a great D-line needs at least a solid secondary to complement it. If your receivers can get open in a second or two, then, even a great pass rush can't entirely cover up for that. But I really think Andru Phillips, with his ability to, like his physicality and just the big jump we're expecting out of him, combined with Paulson Adebo, and hopefully, I think Tyler Nubin is going to be a pretty solid safety for years to come. And this secondary is actually a much more complete unit than I think people are giving them credit. And that's just going to make the entire defense better. Because if you force a QB to hold onto the ball for 3 seconds, they're going to get sacked every time. Like this defensive line is going to demolish every offensive line they play this year. And if you can get even decent play out of your secondary, big things are going to happen. And then I think the other thing that a great pass rush is going to do too for guys like Drew Phillips is it's going to force QBs to make throws under pressure, make poor decisions, and that's when you start to see pick sixes and takeaways, and the defense can start putting up points. Another aspect of the defense that's been talked about this week is I don't know if he's Chad Johnson, Chad Ochocinco. He keeps going back and forth. But he's like, look, I only saw 6 snaps out of Abdul Carter, and it was easy to see this dude is a stud. I mean, 6 snaps, and he had a different move every different time. He's got so many different tools in your arsenal. And that's huge for an edge rusher because, if an offensive tackle's blocking him, he knows, Abdul Carter, he's either going to do a swim move or a spin move, and he can kind of prepare for which one's going to happen. That's a lot easier to block. But if he's got 6, 7, 8 different moves, that lineman's going to be sitting there not knowing what to expect. Abdul Carter is ridiculously fast. He's like a running back who's the size of a mountain, and he's going to just blow right by that offensive tackle every time, and he's going to be getting sacks and forcing quarterbacks into bad decisions. So to me, I don't talk a ton of fantasy football on here, but in my dynasty league, I've been stashing the Giants defense. They weren't super great in fantasy last year, but you could just kind of see this unit coming together. This pass rush is so good. Abdul Carter really completes that pass rush. And then I think Drew Phillips is really going to round out this secondary into a solid unit. And you're going to see takeaways, you're going to see fumble sacks, you're going to see pick sixes, and this defense is going to scare opposing offenses. And then, as I've talked about in a few of my other videos, this offense is going to be better this year. Russell Wilson, he's not, he used to be an MVP Super Bowl winning quarterback. He's no longer there, but he's still solid. He makes good throws. He makes smart plays. He can get the ball into his skill players' hands. The Giants have some really talented receivers, obviously, with Neighbors and Robinson and Slayton, and hopefully Jalen Hyatt. We can see a little bit from him. Running game should be solid. If this team can just put up 20 to 24 points a game, this defense is good enough to take that to the playoffs. And, I could see it being similar to, some of the old Bears teams from, the Urlacher Briggs days where it's this defense might score a touchdown or two themselves, and they don't really even need much from the offense to win games because the defense is just going to be so dominant, and it's going to constantly be putting the offense in good situations with turnovers and just winning the field position battle because of sacks and big plays. So Drew Phillips, I really think, is just going to take this defense to the next level. I think it will be a top 3 unit in the entire NFL, and even an average offense with a top 3 defense is going to compete for the playoffs. So exciting times ahead for the Giants. Let me know what you think in the comments. Who do you think is going to have the biggest year on defense? How do you think the Giants are going to do this year? Who are you excited to see in the preseason game tonight? Let me know. And then don't forget, just subscribe on your way out, and we'll catch you with some more Giants content next time.